We made it. Today is the last day of 2020. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I'm powering through the finish line. I feel like one of those marathon runners who's just sort of collapsing at the end of it. I will share with you that one of my pet peeves is always those year in review specials that the television and the social media sites love to do this time of year. Because I'm not really a rear view mirror guy. I'm much more of a windshield guy. The proportions, I think, are significantly different. And I've always found it to be much more interesting and important to know where I'm going as opposed to where I've been. But this has been an unusual year. I think you would probably agree with that. And so before we leave 2020 in the rearview mirror, I wondered if this might be a good opportunity to take just a few minutes and think about not what has happened this year. We all know what's happened this year. It has been, well, the most unusual year, certainly of my lifetime, and I'm guessing probably of yours. But what I'm really interested in is, what have you learned this year? And so I want to do something that is just a bit different. Typically on the daily messages, this is a one-way. I talk and you listen, but I'm willing to share some things that I've learned this year. But I'd like to invite you, through the comments section here, to perhaps share with me and with one another things that you might have learned this year. So I'm taking a page from our online Faith Matters forum, where we try to have a virtual conversation by use of the comments here. So if you have a particular learning that you want to share, pop that in the comments section and I'll see if I can read that online with us. A couple of the lessons I have learned this year, doing what I do for a living, you might think that this one shouldn't be surprising, but it was kind of surprising to me. And that is this: church is not a building. Yeah, church is not a building. Church is not something that we go to. It's not a destination. It's who we are. It's what we are. And the building is simply a convenient meeting place. It's a good thing, and we like to deck it out with nice trappings, including, minor things like heat and air conditioning, which we've learned to appreciate this year. But it's not the church. It's just a building that the church uses. We are the church. So whether we're having drive-in worship or drive-through worship or online worship or small group worship, whether we're using Zoom or phones or Facebook or YouTube or any of these other bazillion things that we've had to learn this year, we are the church. And that's been a really powerful lesson for me, and I hope for you. And I really look forward to how we're going to live into that in 21 and 22 and in 30 and 40 and all the years that we have ahead of us. The second thing I think I learned is the concept of embracing Plan J. We always have a Plan A, and if you're like me, you tend to have a Plan B or a Plan C in the background. But the reality is, all of those things that we thought we were in control of, we learned very quickly we are not in control of. And so I started calling it Plan J because it was so far beyond anything I could have envisioned or would ever have prepared for. It was a great opportunity to learn that we don't control things. We just have to learn to innovate and be able to handle what God throws at us. Let me give you an opportunity to weigh in here. Kelly says, I've learned the ultimate truth. There is a God, and it's not me. Well said. Well said. We're not in charge, are we? That kind of goes to the Plan J that I'm talking about. Yeah, it's fine to Plan A and Plan B, and even if you're that kind of person, Plan C. But Plan J, it's so far down. And what that means is you have to let go of your devotion to Plan A and even Plan B. Cindy says, stop focusing on negative things and instead keep turning back for guidance. Yeah. Yeah, you want to hear God laugh? Tell God your plans. Thanks, Judy. Another thing I've learned this year that I guess I always knew, but I find it so much more poignant given the times we're living in. Generosity is overwhelming. Think about some of the things that just this little parish has done this year, brothers and sisters. You all donated more food and more money to our food bank at Epicenter than at ever before in our history at Epiphany. That's startling, and that's generosity. We have an Eagle Scout, or a budding Eagle Scout, in our midst, and when John came to the parish to look for some funding support and some logistical help to put those wonderful benches at our labyrinth and kind of work out his Eagle Scout plan, you all just exploded in generosity. Money was rolling in, offers of help were rolling in. That was beautiful, and we will have a lasting benefit to that. We talked before about what happened with Family Promise. We put out the word that there was a homeless family that needed their Christmas brightened. You all stepped up in such an amazing way. Thousands of dollars went to make their Christmas happy and to open the door for more families who are in crisis. That's generosity. And I look at where we're at from our church ministry and mission. And a few weeks back, we had to let you know that we were short on next year's budget. We didn't know what we were going to do, and we asked people to step forward in generosity. Well, you guys have done so more than even in my wildest dreams. We will present to the congregation a balanced budget next month, and that's because of the overwhelming outpouring of generosity that you have all shown to support the mission and the ministry of this parish. So I am overwhelmed by the generosity, and we're just this little tiny parish in Las Vegas. The same theme is being played out all over the world. So generosity is another lesson I've learned for. Debbie says she's learned to look for the blessings in every situation, for the silver linings. Yeah, there always are some, aren't there? Jen and I were talking over breakfast this morning, and one of our 2020 blessings, which we never expected, was the ability to spend some more time with our adult children. Two of the ones who live far away actually came back for a couple of months during the height of the pandemic, and so we had an opportunity to really spend quality time with our family, and that's not something that we ever envisioned would happen again. So there was a blessing there. The last thing, and I'll keep this short because I don't want to take up all of your New Year's Eve, but the last thing I've learned is to focus on three things: love, grace, and optimism. They are three things that are in abundant supply, and as long as we hold to them, things are going to be fine. So get ready to put 2020 in the rearview mirror, but don't lose sight of the fact that there are rearview mirrors on cars so we can see where we've been. Keep focusing on the windshield because it's the big thing in front of you, but use that rearview mirror to help you know what you have learned. And love, grace, and optimism, may all of them be yours in 2021. God bless you, and Happy New Year.